completes a classic picture frame, including the little carved line in it, and I think this is exactly what fits this little painting. So, welcome back to Portugal, the Not Just Sawdust workshop. I know it's a bit late to do this at the end of the video, but I thought I'd just show you the process first and then answer a few questions that I got on Instagram and Facebook, where I updated on this project every day, a little picture or something I was doing. So the first question I got was about the clamps I used, and these are just old-fashioned frame makers clamps. They're just made out of steel. You can sharpen them every now and then, and you got a special pliers with it that open them up, and that gives you the pressure to put them on the corners. This is how we frame makers did it for, like, I don't know, a century or even longer. And you got them in different sizes, small ones, big ones. And you can still buy these sets, although they're not as cheap as they used to be, but that's probably because there aren't many people using them anymore, and that's, you know, it became something that isn't sold much, and then of course it gets more expensive. And then you got the hand clamps, which are really just little steel wires bent in the shape of a clamp. And you got these big ones that are pretty tough, and you got the small ones that are much easier. I put a link in the description to where you can buy these still if you want to. Yeah, if you're doing a lot of framing or little boxes or whatever, it's a good way to clamp your material together. Although of course at some points you will have to fill the little holes that the clamps make, and that's why there are all kinds of waxes specially made for that. Liberon has a series of them, like hard wax, that you can fill the little holes with. And then the second thing is my, well, nail gun, which isn't usable for anything else than putting nails into the corner of a profile, because they come out horizontally. It's the Roma F18, and I think almost all frame shops and frame makers have this nail gun. And yeah, it's a very good tool to have, because it also works when you have to put like glass into a window. It works for that too. So that's just a typical nail gun that frame makers use. Well, you've seen the process on how to make a frame like this. You saw me using the table saw, my grandfather's profile planes, which I've got a few of, and for the rest no special tools or whatever. Of course I used some cork to fill up the gap between the panel and the frame, because there should always be a bit of room in there so nothing can crack or happen. The frame is just glued together, as when I did this in the Netherlands as a professional frame maker. Never used anything else than just glue. I've seen people putting screws in there or whatever, splines, and I don't know why. The glue is stronger than the wood, so nothing's going to happen if you just have a decent wood glue and glue it together. And then I've used a bit of acid-free tape on the inside. For a panel like this, maybe it isn't necessary, but I think it's better not to have the connection between the painting and the wood itself, or the paint that you have on there. Now in this case I just stained it red and painted on the gold with an acrylic gold. If I would make a frame like this, like in the high-end way of making the frame, of course it wouldn't be stained, but it would be red clay, bolus as we call it in Holland, so a layer of liquid red clay, then sand and smooth it again, and use gold leaf for the little line in there. But this is on a normal doable budget, so I'm not going to spend an extra 10 hours to do all that. So in this case I think it works fine, and it almost looks the same, so a little bit less detail in the little leaves in there. They're just a simple version of the leaves you would normally carve in there, but you wouldn't do that in pine, then you would use some other kind of wood to make that. So I hope that answers the questions of the ones that asked them on Instagram and Facebook. For now I would say do some woodworking. It's a nice way to spend your time. Do some recycling. It's an even better way to spend your time. And see you all in the next video. Hasta luego.